Alright guys, so today we're doing a top 5 list for commanders from C20. Commander 20 has come out and I'm finally ready to do my top 5 commanders list. Now, you may be asking, why is this a top 10 list? Well, I already did a top 10 list on top monocolored commanders, and after looking at C20 and thinking about that, I realized that we don't really need to talk about all the good commanders, just the best ones, the most interesting ones. And two, there are not actually 10 cards, I think, commanders that I really feel like are worth talking about. I mean, the other 5 would just kind of be, maybe 6 and 7 might be good, but then the other 3 would just be duds. I do have an honorables mentions list, so... And keep in mind, these are just cards from C20. These aren't going to be any commanders with legendary creatures that showed up in Ikoria. These are just going to be C20. And so with that, let's just get straight into it. So honorable mentions. First we have Otrimi. This is Nightmare Beast. It's 3 in a soul tie, so 6 mana for a 6/6 trample. Whenever this creature does common damage to a player, you may return a creature card with Mutate from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it has Mutate for 4 mana, 1 and a soul tie, so never going to be paying its full cost. Mutate is so much better. You put it on a body and then you can attack with it and get its ability, or make another creature bigger by giving it the 6/6 body, although I doubt you ever do that. So very interesting commander for sure. I think the value it gets by returning Mutate creatures from graveyard to hand is nice. The reason this is on the honorable mentions list is because, first of all, it has to be played in a Mutate deck, which is a restriction for sure. We only have one set so far that has any Mutate creatures, and the rest of them come in the pre-con. So you just buy the pre-con and don't actually build the real deck because there's nothing else you want to put in. I mean, you switch out a couple cards, but Otrimi's just not very interesting. I just don't think he's very good, although he is on the honorable mentions list, so that's that. The next card, or more like a set on the honorable mentions list, is the partner commanders. Together, some of the partner commanders actually have decent abilities, but for the most part, all of them suck when they're alone. I mean, they all, don't do anything when they're alone, and most of them, for the majority, don't even do much together. Together, they still kind of suck. Some of them do okay together. But for the most part, they all just are really bad, and they don't really deserve a mention. But there's so many of the partners, and I mean, the reason they're on the honorable mentions list is because I want to talk about how they could have been better. I think if Wizards had decided that, hey, the last partner commanders we did were kind of overpowered and broken, I don't know. I don't think that they should make that again where you can partner with any other commander. That created a lot of variables that they couldn't see. But I think they should have at least made, either the partner commanders good on their own or insanely good together and bad on their own. Like, I get, being bad on their alone is fine. I mean, but if they had better abilities together, like if one of the partners said, as long as you control my partner, you get to draw an extra card on each of your draw steps. I mean, a fact like that where it says, as long as you control my partner, that would be a really smart way to make these commanders better while also not making them broken. So I think that's how they should have done it. And the last card on the honorable mentions list is Akim the Soaring Wind. Akim is just a good Jeskai commander that says whenever you would make a token, create a 1/1 flyer. White bird creature token as well, and then he can give your creatures double strike. This commander's on the honorable mentions list because we have a strictly better commander in the form of Kaikar. Kaikar makes tokens on your own, so it lets you play spell slingers. If you are going to play token makers, at least most of the token makers you're playing actually get you tokens when they're played with Kaikar. He also has the ability to sacrifice your spirits that he makes in order to gain red mana. Overall, he's a token generator on his own, and he actually has a good ability to use with the tokens. Akim alone does nothing. You need a token generator, and for his second ability to work, you need to have a pump spell or an anthem effect to actually make it worth it. But Kaikar on his own is actually insane as long as you have spells in your deck, which, I mean, even then, that's way better than a Kim's, restrictions. So that alone makes a Kim on the honorable mentions list. So with that out of the way, let's get on to the top 5 commanders. Alright guys, so number 5 on our list is Kathril Aspect Warper. Kathril for 2 and an Abzan. Basically, he gives us a 3/3. And for each creature in our graveyard with a special ability, a text ability, like flying, hexproof, trample, everything like that, we can put a counter of that type on another creature we control, and you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature given a counter. So if you want to give a creature death touch counter, just have a death touch creature in your deck. You want to give a creature hexproof, have a creature in your graveyard with hexproof. This commander is very versatile and very good. He's a graveyard strategy. As a commander, he works great. You just need to mill yourself and then have a big creature you want to give all the counters, whether that be himself or another big creature you've resurrected using some black resurrection spell. And, I mean, as long as you have creatures to give the counters, he is insane. Now, the only downside I'd say is that he doesn't mill you yourself or give you a bigger body. I mean, if he had a 5/5 or a 6/6 body on its own, I would be happy with this commander. He could give himself the counters to become a Voltron strategy. But like this, he can't really do that. I mean, he could give himself a +1/+1 counter, but I mean, overall, he's just weak, too weak on his own, I think. On the, naturally he's just too weak. But if you have plenty of other creatures, you don't really need to worry about that. And Abzan does creatures really well. So this is why this commander is number 5 on our list. Number 4 on our list is Zaxara, the Exemplary. For 1 and a Sultai, he gives us a really good body. He gives us a 2/3 Death Touch. Now the Death Touch is what I mean. The 2/3 obviously for 4 mana is not very good. He says you can add 2 mana of any color. But the real reason why we like him is because whenever we cast a spell with X in its cost, we get to create a 0/0 Hydra with that many +1/+1 counters on it. So if we cast, I don't know, there's a lot of good spells. How about Villainous Wealth? We cast Villainous Wealth for 20 and we create a 20/20 Hydra on top of everything else. At the least, we get the Hydra, and whenever we cast another, any X spells, which blue, green, and black have a lot of good X spells to cast, we can create that many Hydras. So we have Genesis Hydra for sure. Hydra Tribal might be a thing, but I think you're more going to go for as many, you're going to create a ton of mana. Using this commander, you're going to cast as many X spells as possible, trying to get a lot of value off those, and if that fails, kill someone with the Hydras. Sort of the X spell commander for Sultai that we've been missing. I really think this commander has done a good job and is a very nice design. I only wish was that he made X 1/1 snakes or Hydras or whatever. But for the design, it makes more sense to have one big Hydra. I think that the other, making it 1/1s equal to the X and the X spell's cost would be a little bit too good. So for the commander, it's very, very good. So number 3 on our list is Xeris, the Writhling Storm. Xeris is a 3/5 flyer, and he states that whenever you deal combat damage to an opponent, you and that player draw that many cards. So on face, we just both draw 3. And whenever an opponent would draw a card except for the first one, or the one they draw in their draw steps, we create a 1/1 snake. Overall, this card is insanely good. He almost made number 2. But no, we actually have better commanders than this. I mean, the only wish I had was that the snakes have Death Touch, but, I mean, they'd be 2 good blockers. Then you would, even as 1/1s, they're great because you're going to be playing token synergies and you're going to be playing wheel cards. By wheeling your opponents, assuming you have 3 opponents, you wheel once. Each opponent draws 7 cards. You create 21 snakes. That's just so good. And then you can cast, any token or tribal cards you want. You can cast Skull Clamp for sure in this deck is insane. Just anything that, likes tokens. And then, play as many wheel effects as you can. You're going to be wheeling a lot, and you're going to look for your deck for Coat of Arms or another token-based win strategy, and then you're going to kill your opponents with that. So very good commander. You can also play Voltron, pumping up Xeris and saying, hey, you want the cards, I want the cards, but I'm just going to attack you and give them a buff so we each get more cards, and then, you know, sort of in a deceptive manner get a lot of commander damage on people without them realizing it, and then you're going to kill them out of nowhere. Xeris is a very versatile and fun commander. He deals with card draw, tokens, and combat damage. He does everything, and I love him. I love the design and everything about him. With that as our number 3, who is going to be number 2? I mean, who can beat him? Well, it's Gabby Nestward. I almost wanted to put her as number 1. There's a lot of hype about her, but I actually think she's not the best commander from C20. Gabby states that the first time you cycle each turn, that effect costs 0, and whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2. My personal dislike for this commander comes from the fact that you have to build around cycling to make her first ability any good. And that just, I like how how she could also be built as a draw your second card each turn tribal. You could play all those cards from Throne of Eldraine. But the fact that her first ability has to do with cycling and not something else like whenever you draw a card, do something. Or how about if you meet a requirement, draw another card this turn, or whenever you would discard a card, something. I don't know. If she had a better and more open first ability, I would love her. But the fact that you have to play cycling to use her first ability well means that she's sort of a restrictive commander. You have to build around that effect, and it makes her a lot worse in my opinion. But still very good with the 2/2s, and overall the deck design can be very good. So that's why she's number 2. Number 1 is Calamax. I know. I mean, Calamax is just so easy to build around with the crew effect from Kaladesh and, Key to the City, making him unblockable. You have so many ways to tap him down that, he even gets bigger himself. So I don't think that there's any problem with tapping him down. That is like a mild deck building restriction where you have to put those cards in. I think the main deck building restriction is that he says the first time you cast a spell each turn, and when he's tapped to copy it, it only says the first time. He'd be kind of overpowered if he didn't say the first time, but the way we're building this deck, then, we have to be able to play tons of instants. Calamax forces us to play only instants, and we want to be able to play them on each opponent's turn. So we're going to fill the deck with instants and not sorceries nearly as much, because Calamax doesn't benefit from them as much. Focus on instant spells, play as many of those as possible so that we can get his effect on each player's turn and get as much value as possible. Very open deck requirements and strategy, and just insane value if you can double even just one spell. 2 spells, and that's going to be insane. That is why Calamax is number 1 on our list. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know if you agree with my choices. Is Calamax really the best one? Show me your deck text and, I don't know, try to prove me wrong, I guess. Anyway, guys, until the next video, see you guys.